So last month we had one of those special events. You know, when someone comes to visit us from long ago, they came from California, and it will be a secret only for a moment. But I just want to point out our friend hurt her knee. So she has some ice on her knee, if you're wondering what that bag is. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory, so enjoy. So we are so lucky because people keep coming to visit us in Indiana. And I don't know how long it's been since I saw you guys, like
quite a while.
25 years maybe, because our daughter's going to be 24. Wow. And she was a baby the last time I remember seeing you. But yes, Brian and Vicky Stanley are here, and so I'm taking the opportunity to ask them how you guys became Christians so that we can record it. Because I probably heard that story when I was a little kid, but I don't remember all the details, and it's always encouraging to hear them again. And if anybody has questions, my parents are here, Yancey's parents are here, one of our friends, John Bickwamert, is here, and Yancey's here somewhere, but he's not in the group right now. So anyway, please tell us when it started, what year you guys got saved, and how that came about.
Okay. I'm 72 years old now, but when I was 21, I left this place called Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I spent 21 years of my life. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. My mom was Catholic and my dad was alcoholic, so I had a lot of ick in my life. So I was just kind of thinking about that, and then I thought, well, maybe that would go in a testimony. I don't know, but it was something that I had to overcome. And the Catholic part was kind of interesting because as I was in grade school, I think it was 8th grade, they were building a brand new church, and so here I was, in this brand new church. How old are you when you're 18? Well, that happened to be the year that our government killed President Kennedy. This is pretty interesting. But as I was looking around the church, every morning we had a mass, and the young kids were always horsing around in church, but I was there as an 8th grader, and I'd been there long enough to know, okay, this kind of behavior isn't what you do in church. Okay, so there was a little bit of a structure there, and so I would spend a little bit of time in prayer, and God would come and pray, and in my prayer I would feel a presence of God, and I would spend a little time visiting with him, and we'd have a nice time. But he drew me. God drew me.
Yes.
From that time. Okay, so 4 years later, after high school, actually, I had been. I found the family Bible, the great big thing, 6-8 inches tall. I opened it up out of its wrapper and spent about a week separating the gold leaf pages, about 3,000 pages of them. I was the first one in there,
Wow.
You know how it is. But eventually, after looking at the pictures for a while, I did read the Gospel of John almost all the way through. But that was where I learned about Jesus. And I thought, wow, this Jesus is something else, and how is this going to affect my life? But it was virgin birth, and the reason why was because of sin, and I thought, yeah, this is what God has been trying to get into my heart, is that it's because of sin. So after that, the it came back. Dad was not feeling really healthy, and he slammed his bottle down, and he came and pinned me in my chair, and he's, come on, let's fight. This ain't going right. I slid down between his legs, ran back to pick up a few changes of clothes. I threw them in a bag, and I was trying to get out of the house. I'd accidentally thrown my keys on the table. He grabbed them. That slowed me down. So I grabbed my last $10. I got in my car, and I went down to Terre Haute, where I had a friend, just taking him down to school down there earlier in the year. This was in April of '71. And so here I was, I had a flat tire on the way down, and So I put my last tire that would hold air on the car and got down there, and one thing led to another, and I won't tell you all of what happened in Terre Haute, but it was fun. I sold the car, so now I had some money, and because of friends in college, I was going to look for some party supplies, and that was why I went west. I'd never seen a mountain before. I'd never seen the ocean. 21 years old, I was ready to explore, so
Awesome.
I did. I got to Boulder or Denver, and I thought, hey, this is cool. Boulder was even nicer. So we went to Boulder one time to find some of that green party stuff, and yep, it didn't happen. But in came a fella, he called his name Bruce. He had his hand in a Bible, and where his fingers were in the Bible, it stayed like that. It was an impressive sight to a hell-bound sinner, not looking for heaven. And I thought, wow. But Bruce asked us, the four of us, asked us questions, and a fellow named Daniel said, just ignore him, he'll go away. So I answered the question. He said, you guys know who Jesus Christ is? I said, yeah. I'd already read the Gospel of John. So, yeah, Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He's the third person. Well, he's one of the three persons in the Trinity, And he asked me some more questions. Yeah, in my stony mind, I tried, but I kept trying. He asked us about 4 questions, and pretty soon he answered his questions from the Bible. Well, I'd been in church. The Bible had been closed. He answered his questions from the Bible. He opened the Bible up to me. I was impressed. Bruce impressed me. It really made an impression. Okay, that night passed. So I did eventually make it to this place called LA, where it was warm when my frozen hands were taking a starter off in February. And I remembered the weatherman said it was 77 in Los Angeles. And I said to myself with my frozen fingers, where is that place, So I got there. 3 weeks was enough of that. I had to go somewhere. I don't speak Spanish, so I went north. And that was where I hitchhiked, got to a place called Big Sur. Some of us know where Big Sur is.
Yeah.
So I got to Big Sur, and that was the beginning of some fun. The fella I got picked up hitchhiking with was Larry Scher, and the Jewish man, little business. He picked up produce and dairy products and sold them door to door, a 40-mile route up and down the coast. And he asked me to help him. So 2 days a week I worked, and the rest of the time I was in Big Sur. And eventually, after getting a job washing dishes, it's a big step up. I was hearing about this fellowship that was singing songs and hymns and such, and by this time, I was being drawn to something that was bigger than me, and these people that sang songs, they used to. Well, now they're singing hymns, and it was an impressive thing, and it was months later when I was invited to a Sunday worship time, and yeah, I got stoned and missed that one. But
No.
the guys that invited me said, "I'll pick you up next Sunday." Okay, fine. So I got picked up, and that was the day I got saved after worshiping the Lord under the oaks in Big Sur. They said, would you mind if we prayed with you? So they laid hands and prayed up with me, and I thought, well, we'll see with it. There wasn't any thunder, there wasn't any lightning, but it was prayer. And so in my heart, I was waiting on God. How do you do that? Well, you wait on God. And that's what I did. I waited, and there was more, and there was more. So I had to test God at one point, and I said, okay, God, I see how in my misbehavior, I feel like I'm walking with my feet, with 6 feet in the ground, and I'm just dragging along, just plowing. And I said, but after spending time in worship, it was like, I was like 6 feet above the ground. It was like flying.
Huh.
So
I asked God, okay, you check this out, and he's telling me, you check this out, you can drag your feet in the ground or you can go flying with me, and that was what I did. I made a choice. I was trying flying high, but it was in God. It was through Jesus. It was in time in prayer. It was in time in the words, listening to the word of God, and being changed. I needed to be changed. I wanted to be changed even. My heart was drawn.
So it wasn't even just you being a believer, but it was beyond that. You took another step of faith so that the Lord could come into your life because you believed in God.
Yes.
You knew who He was. You
Yes.
said Jesus was God.
Yes.
But then you had to take another step.
But it's like knowing, you know how to start a car, but you know how the engine works, So it was something bigger.
You knew about Him, but you didn't know Him yet.
So you can tear into an engine and learn about it. That's another thing. You work through an electrical problem, but or just change a light. You got to do something. And so in Jesus, I found it was simpler to trust and obey. And so I had to shut up my thinking, stop the ringing in my head and just spend a little time with my Lord. Because if Jesus is going to be my Lord, I have to get to know Him. If Jesus is going to be my friend, I have to spend time with Him, So there was a lot of learning.
Yep.
And do I know everything? Nope.
Not even now, huh?
Yeah, it's only been, almost 50 years, 48 years now, thereabouts. And it's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much better than the first 23 years. Yeah, those first 23, it was nice to learn how to walk, but when I needed to run, or when I needed to sit, or when I needed to listen, it took a lot more learning.
Yep. It's part of what Jesus said about abiding in the vine, abiding in Him.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what was different,
Yes.
I'm sure, in
Yes.
your life after you got saved.
Yes, family and friends, worshiping,
Right. Fellowship,
fellowship.
being part of the body. Yeah.
Yes, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. He's a big, big God.
Yes.
Yeah, so you hear about Him, but His Spirit, is now doing a work.
I know you moved to Salinas at some point, and in my mind, that's where you guys must have met because you came from Las Vegas to Salinas about the time we did, probably 1975?
1973, I think.
In 3.
No.
So before
Well, I got saved in 73, sorry.
Okay.
So, yes.
saved and how old were you when you got saved?
I was 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in school. Are you done? Keep it.
I don't know. I cut him off.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You are welcome to finish.
Your 10 minutes is up.
I don't know if it is.
But I was going to school, and Judy had gone to a meeting she was working in a casino upstairs in the game part. And one of the ladies she was working with, the young girls, Bob Mumford was in town. And some of you might remember that name. And this girl invited Judy to go. So Judy went and, went home.
Yeah.
And then she asked her to go again. And she decided, well, okay, I'll go. So she got saved at the Bob Mumford. And Judy was kind of more my wilder sister. And we were getting kind of really worried about the way she was going. And,
Is she younger than you?
Yeah, she's a year and a half younger.
Okay.
So she used to come home, and I would come over to visit my mom, and she'd be telling us about Jesus, and reading the Bible to us. And I thought, well, I already know the Lord. I know God is real. We were raised Catholic, and I knew God was real, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and I would talk to God, and I thought, she's just a fanatic, But, it's, God was touching my heart, too. And then they went on a big camp out to Zion. James and Mary were probably there. And it was Judy invited us to go, Lori and I. So we decided we would go and maybe hike while they were having their meetings and whatever. And
And Esther
actually,
was there too. She was a baby.
oh,
I was
Esther
a
was a
baby.
baby. Okay, okay,
I was born in 70.
okay.
I was
Yeah.
5 when we left Las Vegas, so.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that.
At Zion, I mean.
Oh yeah.
She was like about 3 or something.
Okay, yeah.
4.
Aw.
Just a little one. Yeah. So anyway, that night, I think everybody went witnessing one day, and we all jumped into trucks and the back of trucks and went into different campgrounds. And I was so afraid they were going to ask me to talk to people about the Lord, and I was thinking, I don't know, I have no idea what I would say. I wasn't saved, you know. But that night, I don't know, the Lord was just touching my heart. And I thought, you know, I don't know really what this is all about or anything, but I know Lori had gotten saved that day. And she had gone witnessing with Judy and Carrie. And I thought, I know Carrie knows how to get you saved, you know, knows much, you know, that was my thinking. And I looked all over and I couldn't find him. So we all went to bed, and the sisters all had a great big army tent. And that night they were singing in the Spirit, and it was just beautiful. You know, I just thought that was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard, you know. And so the next morning I'm standing there and I'm thinking, man, you know, you're just kind of thinking about everything you've seen and heard. And I walked over to Ruth Murray and I said, I knew she was the head of the ladies' tent. She was the leader. I said, Ruth, I want to get saved. And she just started, you know, Ruth jumping up and down, and she goes, wait right here, and she went running off. I thought, okay, I'll wait here. And she brought Sandy Curry, and they came over, and Sandy prayed with me, and that was just a wonderful, wonderful camp meeting, you know, something I had no expectation about. But then I was still going to school, I was still working weekends and at night and stuff, so I didn't always, I think the first year I went to a lot of meetings, and the second year I kind of wasn't going to as much, you know, but I felt I would get ready sometimes at night and because I wanted to go, but then I felt bad. I felt I'd missed a lot, you know, I'm not going to go. So I wouldn't go, but I should have gone. But then my mom called one day and she said, Vicky, they're all moving to Salinas because a lot of the elders had already moved.
Huh.
I don't know where you guys moved, but I said, they can't all move without me. That was my thinking. I thought, I belong to those people. You know, I thought, you can't go without me.
Yeah.
So I went to a meeting, and James, I don't know if you remember, but it was you and Jean Lucas. The other elders had left. And I remember after the meeting, I walked up and I said, I'd like to go to Salinas. And at first, you guys weren't sure. You know, you said, well, I think you said to me, you're like a family, but a distant cousin, or something. Something like that. And I thought it was true, though. I thought it was true because I hadn't been around a lot for the last year.
Yeah.
But I felt bad, but I knew it was true. And then I think Gene had gone and called Brother Abbott or something and asked if I could come. And he said I could come, and I was so excited. I was so thankful that he said I could come, you know. So that began my experience of being saved. And then I remember after we were married for about I had Jonathan in my arms, so it was probably about, 2.5, 3 years, 4 years. And one day I was sitting on the floor, going to read my Bible, had my Jonathan, and Krista was playing. And I just felt in my heart, I don't know why, but I felt like, Lord, I'm not sure I'm saved. And it wasn't any reason. And I thought, but I know how to make sure I am. So I just said that prayer, the sinner's prayer again. And I never had any thought about it after that. Never had any doubt. And I think it was really more a conversion point in my life than a salvation, you know. But I am so thankful for Jesus, and I would never trade my life and what the Lord's done for anything in this world.
How did you guys get together?
I don't know. Nope. How did we?
Well, I was
We
just
go witnessing. So we
yeah,
be
yeah,
together.
yeah. We go witnessing, and she thought I did a fairly good job witnessing.
I thought he was fun to talk to,
and I didn't mind talking to people, and I didn't understand all of what was going on out there, but you know, I know that people talk to me, and that if I listened, you know, I could see a little bit of a pattern there. So I'd go out and I'd ask people questions, like I was hearing the other brethren ask people questions, and yeah, you got shut down pretty much a lot. And then sometimes you'd see a little bit of a eyebrow raised, and you know, you could get a little bit of a word in there sideways or edgewise or maybe even frontward so they could understand it. And then the idea is to introduce the concept that Jesus wants to save your soul. It's just that much. And how do you do that? You know, do you go to church? Have you had experiences there? You know, yeah, okay. And then that's okay. That's a good start. And so we'd work with that witnessing thing, and I didn't mind Vicky being close because I'd already been wanting to talk to her and listen to her, and it was good. And
My first impression of Brian was, I thought, he's really nice to talk with, but I don't think I would ever want to marry him. I mean, I remember thinking that, and I thought, why would I think that? Why did that even come into my thinking? That's so good.
and I thought the idea of having a wife one day would be a great thing, you know, but you know, how do you do that? You know, there's a lot of mistakes made out in the world, and I'd seen, well, I have 5 sisters, so I've seen a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
You know, it just happens, you know. And,
Yes, it does.
and it's
No way around that.
no, so you got to work with what you got, and you know, with Jesus I got a lot, but with me he didn't get a whole lot, so he had to dangle me a little bit, and it was fun. But you know, eventually I was working with Brother Abbott on his trailer. I had to do some work on his brakes and on the trailer. So I did a nice job on the trailer, but what I didn't realize was that the connection at the plug on the car wasn't doing the job right, and he kind of dropped me after that kind of an incident we had there. But as I was working on the trailer, Brother Abbott came out with a cup of tea and a couple of cookies, and he says, well, how are we doing out here? I says, well, I'm just about done with, you know, checking this thing out. I says, it looks to me as though it should be right. And he says, well, is there anything I could do for you? I said, well, there is, you know, and just leaned up against the fence. And I said, well, you were talking about, you know, family and marriage and stuff. He says, let me say, it's that Sister Vicky, isn't it? Ah, boy, I fell against the fence. No, come on, brother. I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out how to say this, you know, and you tell me. And he says, well, I have an eye on things, you know. I'm watching what's going on. And I mean, for months before that, you know, I was running the sound system, and I had tunnel vision. The only person I saw in that room was Vicky. And you know, 300 of us in there, you know, and the only one I saw was Vicky, you know, and it was just amazing. So to me, it was like God was preparing me, telling me, you know, guiding me, and I thought, oh yeah, and you told Brother Abbott too, okay. So that was kind of cool, and I said, well, what should I do? He says, Brother Brian, he says, that Sister Vicky, he says, I wouldn't hesitate.
Aww.
Whoa. Well, what does that mean? So I went home, took a shower, and got on the phone.
And I was sitting on the fence thinking, oh, you never get married.
That's so amazing. And look at the family that you raised.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
Yeah, we did. I asked her to marry me, and sometime later I got a response. But an angel.
I said, you're not supposed to ask me the first date.
Is that what he did? Wow.
He did.
I said, we're supposed to court first.
Well, Brother Abbott said, don't hesitate,
Yeah.
Nobody ever gets it right, but you know, when the Lord put us together, that was a good start.
That's awesome. Do you mind giving a quick little recap on your kids, each of your kids, how they're doing? Just, general.
Okay. They're all doing pretty good. You know, they have their struggles. Krista and Hunter are, he's a pastor, and they're both loving that. They've had some real trouble with COVID and different things that happened during that time, but their girls are just beautiful girls. They're just the sweetest little girls. And Jonathan and Naomi, that's another real hard struggle in our life, but we're waiting and believing God to reunite father and daughter and granddaughter and grandparents, on both sides. And Daniel and Jessica, they're expecting their 6th baby. So
How many grandkids altogether?
we have
8.5.
yeah,
8.
8 going on 9. Yeah. So
Awesome.
they want to go on the mission field. They want to go to Ecuador, but here comes another baby. So Daniel finally has kind of given it over to the Lord and said, "Okay, God, it's not time yet. So we're gonna wait." And they're with a wonderful church family. So they've had a lot of struggles, but God's really doing miracles in their life, and it's wonderful.
Awesome.
And their kids are just,
They're marvelous kids.
oh yeah, really dolls. And
So after prayer for their meals, they'll raise their hands and they'll shout, "Hallelujah! He is risen!"
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
we all
precious.
did that,
Yeah.
So
And then Jeremy, he's still waiting for a wife, and it's been a real, he's been real depressed at times over that situation, but trusting God.
we're praying for
And
a good
there's
Christian wife for him.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah.
We had a great time when he came and visited here.
Yeah, he
It
loved
was
coming
nice
here.
to
He
see
loved
him.
being with all of you.
It's been a long time
worshiping.
now, quite a few
Yeah.
years, but that was
Yeah.
great.
But he's still looking for a wife.
I know, I've heard that.
Yeah. So, and I don't know why, he's gone to different churches, just because he's looking for a wife, not so much to go. So maybe it's the wrong reasons, right? But God can use anything.
That's right.
But either they're married already or they're too young,
Yeah. Right.
So it's kind of been a real frustrating time of, just, Lord, what do you have for me, So I keep encouraging them, Jeremy, God's got a beautiful young lady for you somewhere, Just keep trusting him. Don't let it depress you. Don't let the enemy come in and tell you lies and all this stuff that, So anyway, that's kind of, where our
We're
kids
happy in
are.
Jesus because of what he has done,
Amen.
what
Amen.
he's going to do.
Yep.
And this ain't the end.
No.
This is the beginning.
And one thing my kids always said, because I still tell them all the time, I said, Jesus is coming anytime, we've got to be ready. And they go, Mom, you've been saying that for all of our life that Jesus is coming.
That's
and
right.
he hasn't come in. I said, yes, but it's even more closer now.
Yep.
He is coming.
That's right. It's the truth.
So, yeah.
Don't
Thank
give
you,
up.
you guys. Thank you for being willing to share while you're here on your little vacation. And
Thank you for everything you all have done for us and just
it's awesome
inviting
to
us
see
over
you.
and blessing us.
You've
We've been blessed.
generous and warm and
I know.
smiles everywhere. We've loved being here. So thank you for a very pleasant visit. It's been lovely.
Super welcome. We love you guys.
Yeah.